Welcome back, dear students of class 12th, to yet another video of the poetry Keeping Quiet, part 1 of which I had given to you in the previous video when we came to know that the poetry Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda is an appeal, is a universal appeal of quiet introspection, and he involves everybody, himself and the readers all over the world, and he insists and requests and appeals that he's going to count till 12 and all of us need to keep still. So likewise, he has suggested that it is important that we should not speak in any language in order to achieve the quietude and the calm that he wants, and also to avoid any sort of misunderstanding and miscommunication. Then he refers that it's important that all of us for once should stop moving our arms as an activity and should stop any kind of or all sorts of attacks or the usage of weaponry, arms and ammunition that leads to lot of difference and destruction and problem all over. And then he says that once this is achieved, it is going to be an exotic moment because there is not going to be any rush, there would be no engines, and all of us are going to be united together in this silence and in this feeling of self-introspection, and therefore it would be like brotherhood. So once this main, the ground rules are set, then he begins and then he urges and he suggests that how this self-introspection is going to help people to observe. So he begins with giving examples of the fishermen, that the fishermen would not harm the whales. And the second example refers to mankind through a salt gatherer, that when he takes a break, he would realize that just for the sake of survival so far, he has been doing this work for such a long time. But today when he goes still, when he will leave everything, he will see that how much damage he has caused to his hurt hands. And then the poet came to those basically, that how is this introspection, this quiet introspection going to help? So for all those who are involved in all kinds of wars, be it grain wars referring to nature, be it wars with gas or wars with fires referring to when nations, wage a war against each other and the soldiers are involved in just killing and destruction. So he mocks the government, the people, the system, and he says that what is the point of these wars and what is the point of such a victory wherein you may win a war, but then it is going to be so futile because there are going to be no survivors to enjoy that victory, or there are going to be no people left behind to enjoy the goodness of nature, because that would have been completely destroyed by the weapons and the arms used by the soldiers. So on the contrary, he suggests that it would be so nice, that if these soldiers, they just remove their blood-stained clothes, put on clean clothes and strike a healthy relationship, strike this oneness in brotherhood with the enemy soldiers on the other side, and just walk doing nothing, which means it would be so good, if just instead of fighting and creating chaos and doing bad things, it would be so nice if the soldiers and all of us forget the enmity and we become brothers and we become united and just walk in the shade doing nothing. So this is where I had left in the previous video. So today I am going to cover up what is left of the poetry. So see, once you go through the poetry Keeping Quiet, you would see that when Pablo Neruda is saying these things, so apparently while going through all his appeals and while listening to him, you would say, "Ke bhai, what does he want? He wants us to leave everything. He just wants us to be still and not do anything. So how are we going to survive?" So the question arises, ki what needs to be done? Are we supposed to leave everything and become idle? So who will feed us? Where will the money come from? How will the survival take place? So this is a big question that comes in the mind. And that question is answered here, maybe, somehow, when he says that what I want should not be confused with total inactivity. So the poet very clearly says that, look, don't get me wrong. Don't get confused. I don't want you to become inactive. So in a way, the poet is saying that, okay, you are becoming little inactive physically, but your mind is so active right now, because your mind is introspecting your activities and the actions. And whatever is put to action post the introspection brings about such wonderful results, which are good not just for mankind, but also for the entire humanity, for nature, for society, for everybody. So he says, don't get me wrong. You are not becoming inactive. You are supposed to do what you are doing. And in the next line he says, life is what it is about. So if I ask you students, that what do you think, what is life about? So your common answers would be, ma'am, life is about living. Life is about being happy. Life is about making people happy. Or maybe life is about sharing joys and sorrows, etc., etc. And you can have endless answers to this. But a very straight answer to this would be, life is all about activity and dynamism. Life is about living it. But here what the poet stresses upon is the fact that just don't get lost with the idea of living and survival. Don't become selfish. All he is saying is that, alright, yes, you have to live. Life is supposed to go on. But in this process of the gift called life, you have to introspect. All the poet wants is that, okay, life is going on, you are busy, perfect, fine. But please take a break. Take a break and think about all that you have been doing so far. So he says, life is what it is about. So basically, life is about activity, life is about dynamism. And in the next line he says, I want no truck with death. And you have the meaning of this phrase given here. To associate with, or to tolerate, to refuse to tolerate something. See, you can say, you can become really pessimist, and you can tell Pablo Neruda that, why should I do all this, or why should I worry about, one has to die one day. So what difference does it make? Why do I do this introspection and start thinking about the planet and this and that and me and others? Why? Because eventually I am going to die. So he says, I want no truck with death. Death is inevitable. Death is not avoidable. Death is part of the way nature has designed things. Everything that is born apparently has to die one day. So he says, death is something that is inevitable, so it cannot be avoided. And that is why I don't want to deal with death. I don't want to, get into any sort of, struggle or any sort of hustle with death, because he says it is bound to come. But that does not mean that if we are supposed to die after 10 years, that we become so blind in our selfishness, we become so blind in just thinking about our own self, that we stop to realize that how are we damaging the things around us. As a result, what would happen? If you're supposed to die after 10 years, you might just die after 5 years. So this is what the poet wants us to do. He clearly says, look, I don't want you to become inactive. You are supposed to be active. You are supposed to live life. But while you are living this life, do stop and give it a thought. That introspection is very, very important. Okay. And then he says, if we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving, that's the problem. We all have been single-minded. We have all had we have just been on a single track. And that single track or that single-minded thing is called keeping our lives moving, or I would say survival. The only track that everybody wants to move on apparently right now is to have money, 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 money and more money, and to survive, besides having the basic necessities, then we are in the trap of the luxuries. So the poet says that if, he puts an if, a condition, if we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving, and for once could do nothing. So only if we could stop, take a break, pause, be silent, stop talking, stop moving arms, stop doing everything, then what will happen? A huge silence will come. It will be a strange moment, right? Perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness. And what is that sadness? The sadness that is prevalent in each one of us. The sadness of never understanding ourselves. The problem today is that even when man can have anything he wants, still he does not understand himself. Still he does not know what is his satisfaction level. We are just not happy. Our conditioning is such that we know, okay, we have to go in a good school because a good school lays a very good foundation. Done. You get good percentage in 10th, done. You go to 12th, you get a very good percentage, so that you apply and you are right there in the merit list in the top universities and colleges, done. Got the admission there also. Fine. Graduation done, post-graduation done, qualification complete. Done. Check. The next thing, alright, a great company hires me. Alright, so I'm in one of the best MNCs apparently, and I'm earning a big thick package. I'm minting money. So basically, the whole single-mindedness is about money and about survival. Alright, so now I have a lot of money. I'm doing good. Alright. But then my question is that I don't know how much money I want. Ye kahan likha hai? Where is it written that, okay, if I reach 50 lakhs per annum, okay, that's my satisfaction level. Yeah, nahi. I can be very happy with 12 lakhs per annum, or I can be very happy with 60 lakhs, a crore, or maybe more. What is my satisfaction level? Man is so greedy. There is no end to it. We just want more and more and more. So the fact of today's life is that even the man who is as rich as Ambani, and on the contrary, a man who is just a rag picker, nobody is satisfied with their lives. We have arranged for ourselves in our house all the amenities, facilities, but still, today the whole world is running behind something that is called peace of mind. Why do we have so many depression and anxiety cases and panic attacks and diabetes and obesities in young children? Why? What is the level of our happiness? What will give us joy? We don't know. So the problem is that is why he says, only if we were not so single-minded. Yes, ab kyun ho raha hai? Because we are so single-minded. We are so busy in earning money and earning our livelihoods that we have forgotten to stop and enjoy the little things of life. We have forgotten to take a break, take a deep breath, and thank God for what we have. No, we don't do that. All we do is that we don't understand ourselves. Okay, fine, I need a car. Great, I bought a car. After a year or so, I'm not happy with this car. Another car comes. It is even more expensive. It is a luxury sedan. All right, I want that luxury sedan. Purchased. Done. I have a house. It's a 2 BHK. No. I think now I want a 4 BHK. Are you getting it, children? I want to go to a holiday. Okay, so fine. Maybe initially I was very happy holidaying in my country. But now it's a status symbol. So I have to go to abroad. I have to travel Europe. I have to travel Middle East. I have to travel anywhere. Now I have to take a cruise. Are you getting it, children? So we don't understand ourselves. And it is so sad. So sad. So only when you will keep quiet, remain silent, introspect. So this huge silence is going to do two things. One, it will interrupt the sadness of not understanding ourselves. And number two, it will interrupt, the sadness of threatening ourselves with death. We are all threatening ourselves with death, whether we admit to it or we do not admit to it. Some way or the other, our lives are moving in such a pattern, they are caught up in such a web that we are threatening ourselves with death here or there. It could be through all the activities that we are doing, damaging the nature. Okay? So I would say yes, we are threatening ourselves with death. When we stop wasting water, when we do not stop wasting water, and when we do not realize that the water level in the underground water table has gone threateningly low, then yes, my dear friends, I am threatening myself with death because I have created for myself a situation wherein I will not get fresh water to drink. How am I threatening myself with death? Yes, I am. When I am cutting trees at an alarming rate and I'm not planting them again, I'm not taking care of the environment, then yes, I am creating for myself a situation where there would be no oxygen. When I refuse to adhere to guidelines wherein I'm not supposed to use crackers and I am badly polluting the environment, I am threatening myself with death. What is smog? We all stand witness to the threat that we have faced just in last year or so, that because of smog, schools had to be shut down. Where does this smog come from? Is God giving it to you? No, I'm sorry. He gave you so many blessings, but not smog. We gave smog to our own selves. We created it. And now we are facing the brunt of all that we have done. So yes, now when we realize, what will this huge silence do? What will this introspection do? This quiet introspection will tell us, don't use polythene. It is harmful for the nature. Don't waste water. Fresh water nahi hai. Treat the chemicals in the factory. Don't harm the marine life. Don't disturb the biological system or the entire ecosystem. Are you getting it, students? So this is what introspection is going to do. Introspection will tell us that, oh my God, I have been working like a slave. When will I spend time with my family, my kids, my parents, my brothers and sisters? Day and night, I have become a slave to what? Just to earn money? And then I have hypertension, I have diabetes, I have n number of diseases, and apparently all the money I am earning, how ironic this is. All the money that I am earning happens to go in paying the annual premium of my health policy. because then I'm scared. Oh my God, अगर मुझे heart attack हो गया, what will happen to me if I get admitted? Where will all that extra kharcha, be dealt with? Who's going to meet those expenses? This is all what threatening ourselves with death is about. So he says, only if we are doing all this, but all of this can come to a halt if we stop, remain quietly introspect, and this huge silence is then going to give us, an insight to what we have done. And once you have introspected, then the activities that would happen would be for the benefit of mankind, in the favor of humanity. And then the poet gives us a symbol from nature, and that symbol from nature is this earth. And while I'm explaining these lines, I would like to tell you that this explanation also stands as an answer for question number 4 here in these lines. So he says, okay, learn from the planet, learn from earth. हम बोल रहे हैं ना क्या रे, how can we be inactive? We have to work, we have to survive. बिना एक्टिव हुए कैसे चल सकता है? तो भाई be active, but give yourself some time. So learn from earth. Perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. So a very classic example of the planet I will give you, that when you have snowfall, children, or when there is autumn, you will see when there is autumn, all the leaves are shed. You will not have flowers, you will not have color and life. When there is snowfall, you will see nothing but snow. It seems earth is dead. कुछ नहीं है बर्फ के अलावा. जब ऑटम है, पतझड़ है, कुछ भी नहीं है. Trees just go dead, and the planet goes, so dry and dead and dull. Or maybe, when in the extreme heat, you would see that, oh my God, there is no greenery. But suddenly, the moment the seasons change, as the snow melts, and from the winters the season changes to spring, you have fresh leaves, you have flowers, you have fruits, and the entire picture changes. So learn from earth. And I always tell, every time I'm teaching this poetry, that see, earth seems to be right now, when you and me, whether we are sitting, standing, working, doing any activity, earth is revolving. It is going round and round. Seasons are changing, months are passing. But does the earth come to us and make some huge proclamation and make some huge announcement and say, okay, summer's finished, winters are about to begin? So a big earthquake comes, okay, the seasons are changing. And then again, winters are finished, now spring is about to come. Again some big earthquake or tsunami comes and we say, oh, chak, theek hai, the earth is coming to action. No. Earth is continuously working, but in a very, very silent way. So learn from the planet that when everything seems dead in the months of winter, autumn, extreme heat, but the moment the time changes, everything proves to be alive. पता नहीं कहाँ से तो पेड़ पौधे उग आते हैं. You would see wild plants and flowers. You go to the hills, you would see such beautiful wild flowers and grass and such beauty of nature, blooming and flourishing everywhere. किसने करा? कहाँ से आया ये सब? That's earth. That's Mother Earth. That's nature. So these 3 lines are an answer to these 3 lines, that learn from earth. Don't get me confused, the poet says. I don't want you to become inactive. Remain active, but be active like the planet Earth. The planet is continuously in motion. The planet works for the welfare of mankind, and in such a way that it only ends up giving you more and more. Alright, dear students. So here the basic idea of quietude and calm introspection refers so that we may analyze our own actions and we may remain quiet, and after then having realized what is right and what is wrong, then we may mend our ways, and then life is going to be so better. And in the last two lines the poet says, now I'll count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. What is the difference between the last two lines here and the first two lines here? The major difference here, he says we. The poet is also including himself here. But here he says, now I'll count up to 12. Because now here by the end of the poem, the task of the poet is done. He has unloaded the message that he wanted to give us. He is done with his work. So now he wants to count till 12, and while he will count to 12, we are supposed to keep quiet. We are supposed to do the quiet introspection, and we are supposed to then act accordingly. So basically, in the last two lines, the poet is saying goodbye because the message that he wanted to convey to its readers, the responsibility, the onus of saving the planet that he wanted to give to the people who are reading this, he has done that. He wanted people to take a break and realize. And once he does that, he wants to leave. And now he has made you aware. So it is entirely our call. It is entirely our decision that we remain quiet, we become still, not move our arms for once, stop our activities, and get into quiet introspection. And that introspection will not be a state of inactivity, because that introspection will put your brain into so much of activity that you will realize what all damage we have done so far to our own selves and to the planet. So this, my dear students, is what keeping quiet is all about. I hope the poetry is clear to you. Still, if you feel that there are any doubts anywhere, feel free to contact me. And for the notes and everything, things will be sent to you. So I just hope you enjoyed the poem. And especially in reference to the COVID times that we are in, this poem holds a lot of relevance. So I just hope that each one of us, we have done the quiet introspection. And I think that life now should become more meaningful. So on this note, I would like to conclude the lesson today over here. You take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.